Hey, welcome everyone. Oh, so happy to see a good crowd here. Yes, this is going to be fun. All right, so I'm Monica Reynolds. I'm start on time, so I appreciate you guys being on time, and we're going to get started here in just a minute. So I know you're here, and I know you want to know about a Rockstar assistant. So some of you are assistants, and some of you are agents, and I've trained more agents and assistants than anyone in the country. I'm currently the VP of MAPS, yet this is my one thing. This is my one thing. It's always been my one thing, training assistants and going to the next level. So we're going to get started here now. Carlos, do you have the first one you can pull up on our screen here for everyone? Oh, Graham, I'm sorry. You needed to make an announcement. I'm sorry, Graham. I was just excited to get started.
No,
so
I'll try to feed off your energy.
Do your announcement. Okay,
yeah,
good.
I'll feed off your energy. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by, and welcome to today's webinar, 10 Steps to Having the Perfect Rockstar Assistant with MAPS coach Monica Reynolds. I'll make this short and sweet. Please note this meeting is being recorded, and I will share the link in the chat momentarily to the MAPS YouTube channel where the recording will be available within 24 hours. Currently, everyone is on mute. However, we do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions for Monica, please type them into the chat box. Following the meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or other coaching programs, please feel free to email us at fasttrack, FASTTRACK @kw.com. That's all for me, Monica. Floor is yours.
Okay, this is going to be a powerful call for everyone. And here's what I want to suggest to you. You know, when I look back in my real estate career, when dinosaurs walked around about 42 years ago and interest rates were 17.5%. So don't be scared about anything coming that's single digit. People still buy, people still sell. You just got to get in the middle of them. People still move. There's death, divorce, whatever, bigger job, less job. They're still moving. Because you're on this call, I know that you want to change from being an agent to a business owner. And sometimes we change to being a business owner by hiring a Rockstar assistant. When we don't hire the right person, then you're not going to change the course and the trajectory of your business. The best thing that ever happened in my life in the late 70s, early 80s, when I hired an assistant, my world changed, the client's worlds changed. And yet, we as agents, as independent contractors, hear this loud and clear. We are control monsters, and rightly so. We're commissioned salespeople. I get it. I've done the drill. I get it. And yet we want to trust people, but until that trust bridge is built, then we don't trust them, or we don't trust our assistant. We're looking over their shoulders. We're double checking. We're talking to clients about stuff we shouldn't talk to on the listings or the pendings. We're involved where we shouldn't be. So put in the chat box, are you involved if you have an assistant where you shouldn't be? Yes or no? Just for fun. Let's have some fun interaction here. Yes or no? Are you involved where you shouldn't be? Oh, good. There's a brave nose there. Okay. All right. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. All right. More yeses, more no's. Okay. So here's what we're going to go to the next slide now, Carlos. Thank you so much. And what are the 10 steps? And so we're going to go briefly through these. Have no assistant. Okay, good. All right, this calls for you. So I'm going to talk about each one of these, so don't get nervous. And when you get a copy of the recording, which you will for showing up, you will get all of these slides too. So hire correctly, I'm going to talk about that. Steps for the hiring success, meaning how are you onboarding them so that they're set up for success? And so some of you who do not have a Rockstar assistant, you can reset. You can reset and go back and do these steps. 30, 60, 90, 411. They are the director of the database growth, which is your data bank. That is your only asset. And we're going to role play some of the scripts that I use, and I'm going to share with you what they are. They need to become the CEO of the office and how you empower them to do that. Communication on a 1 to 10 has to be a 12. Training, where are you involved? What are some resources for you? And then what are those Rockstar qualities? Next slide, please, Carlos. So I'm going to talk briefly. You know, Keller Williams has a wonderful thing called Keller Personality Assessment. Now, you can have 37 different matches and you can see if this assistant is a listing assistant, it's a director of operation, if it's a transaction coordinator, you can do all of those and do the job matches. And so as far as the DISC profile goes, in the training that I do, I usually break it down to DISC, of course, which is on the DISC. If you're a D, now I'm a triple D, I speak really fast, I go fast, you know, I have imaginary conversations with myself. I think people should get something that I said and then they don't. I can't believe that. And I'm sure no one else is like that, right? So for me, I cannot have a high I that I work with. One, they're emotional. I'm a D. I'm not emotional. Carlos? Okay, thank you. Carlos, you got another screen up there, please. Okay, thanks. All right. So I'm emotional. I mean, really not emotional. And if I have an emotional high I assistant who's like, oh, you're not going to believe what happened. The sign fell down on the listing. I will not want to engage in that conversation. One, I don't need to know about it. Two, just fix it. Don't tell me about it. Move on. Right? And so you have to know. So for me, I have to have a C to clean up the messes and the hurricane and the tornadoes and the floods I leave behind me. I'm like Mother Nature, just blowing stuff up everywhere. But I'm a high producer, right? I'm a mega agent, just like you. And so I need that C. Then I need the S. I need them to be nice to my clients. And that I need them to have some energy. I don't need to be working with a dead person. So I need that CSI is absolutely the perfect profile for me. All right, so that's step one, is to take the time to ask the questions and find out who they are. And is this someone you want to build your business with? Is this the person that you go, wow, they've got shiny eyes. Wow, they're learning based. Wow, they're a great communicator so far in these interviews. Interviews was a plural, not one and done. Okay. All right. So let's pull up step two. So in this hiring success, you have to set all the expectations. So in my calls that I do, we talk about what's appropriate pay and compensation only for the agents, not the assistants, only for the agents. I do not talk about pay and compensation with the assistants. Reviews and referrals, setting expectation that every single client that they're in communication with, that they're getting a review or they're getting a referral from. I've got all the scripts. I've got all the systems. I've got the emails that absolutely, when you set that expectation, you need to do this as part of your job. And this, and I'm going to help you. We're going to role play it so you get comfortable. And it's just part of who you are. By the way, before I let you go, thanks for working with our team. Who do you know right now is thinking about buying or selling? We love referrals. They're going to know that script. They're going to know that script. That's just the script, right? Job descriptions. So you have a 4 or 5 page job description of everything they're going to do. When you're hiring, you go through the job description saying, none of this will make sense to you right now if they don't have a real estate background. However, I'm going to go through each one of these items and we're going to check it off as you learn. The job description is the training checklist. Imagine that. The job description is the training checklist. 30, 60, 90. I'm going to go through that here in just a minute, because when you have a 30-day expectation and they don't meet that 30-day expectation, you got 2 choices. You give them another 30 days or less, or you let them go, it's not the right fit. Or maybe they quit and they go, this is too much. And yet you have to set the right 30-day expectations, which I'm going to do, which is a weekly, monthly, and setting the standards. So when you get them on a 30, 60, 90, you're going to know in 30 days, is that the right person? Is that the right person? Okay, any questions, put them in the chat box. I'll do my best to swing back. All right, step 3, everyone. 30, 60, 90. I personally wrote this for career visioning, if you know the CV process, and all of you should take that if you're the agent on the call at some point. Absolutely must do that. And if you're a director of operations on the call, you must take CV. And so I wrote this for CV for the executive assistant. The first 30 days is very simple, how to answer the phone and role playing how to answer the phone. And some of you are going, well, I have the phone. How will they answer the phone? Well, you need to get a digital line of an office phone because you're a business person with an assistant, or you need to give up your cell phone and that's your business phone now, get another one that is a private one. You do not give to sellers. You do not give to anyone but your assistant, your family, and your friends. Keep it simple that way. So you're going, what? I go, yes, yes. Okay, so, all right. So the first 30 days, they're going to learn the potential buyer seller script. When a call comes in, how do they handle it? If they're not licensed, I've got the script. I role played with that. So when you're feeling some pain and anxiety, there are systems and there are things that you can do to make these corrections. If you've already hired an assistant and they're not capable of doing it, this is where you circle back and say, let's work on this. Okay, data entry. They have to know your CRM. If you're using Command, great. There's videos. If you're using Boomtown, if you're using Brivity, whatever they're doing, you have to set them up for success in learning that database and tracking the database growth and managing emails and the campaigns. So it's database, getting very proficient on that. Third thing is they learn to process the listing, pre-list package, MLS entry, customer conversation, seller feedback. Seller feedback, yes. Do not use Zillow. They're getting your database. Do not use Zillow, or the showing desk or whatever that is. Don't do it. You have your assistant call. There's 3 quick questions. Thank you so much for showing, our property 123 Cherry Street at 3 o'clock yesterday. I need 1 minute of your time. Is your buyer going to write an offer? No. May I ask you why the buyer's not going to write an offer? Price is too high, too close to the freeway. Thank you for that. What do you feel the price would be? Well, $25,000 less. Okay, thank you so much for your feedback. We appreciate that. No, now this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity now that the #1 challenge with sellers, according to the National Association of Realtors and all their surveys, is sellers do not like us because we do not give feedback. We do not give feedback. So this is how your assistant finds that out, plus talking to that agent saying, thank you for showing our listing. And oh, by the way, it might be a team member. Oh, by the way, it might be a recruit for Keller Williams and your profit. Okay, profit share. Okay, next one, Carlos. Let's talk about the 60-day goals. Now, as you notice on the 30 days, it's the phone, it's the database, and it's the listings. Everything about the listings, the pre-list package, setting it up, making the phone calls, all of that. Don't do anything else. Now, if they haven't perfected that, you extend it 45 days or 60 days if you would like, another 30 days. So closing files, this one's a big one. And yet, if you're doing the closings currently, or you have someone else doing they need to shadow them. And then tracking numbers and sources of business, and maybe possibly a lead generation system or research if you want. But that's the 60 days. So slowing it all down. We all want them to come in within 1 week, can process the listing, do a TC transaction, do all the marketing. And oh, by the way, go make all that social media happen. Not going to happen. Slow down. Okay, let's go to 90 days, Carlos. Okay, 90 days. Now, this is a point where you have at the end of 90 days, not the beginning, at the end, you have all the marketing, all the listings, all the pendings, all the database, the phones and the scripts and tracking weekly numbers, goal monitoring, and assisting with some lead generation as far as getting things prepared for you or sending out mailings or getting numbers ready, whatever it happens to be. So just take a deep breath. You will absolutely have a Rockstar assistant. So some of you who have an assistant, can they do all of those things at a high level? So on a 1 to 10, a high D, like me, expects a 12. But I will take an 8 or 9 of efficiency. So is your assistant right now efficient on all of those? If not, like I said, it's not too late to go back. All right, so let's go to the executive assistant business plan. What? Some of you may not have a business plan, and I'm asking you to have one for your assistant. You're going to build the business. The most important hire is your first hire, and get it right and get that person to grow the business. And when you give people growth opportunities, they don't leave. I've never heard anyone say, I'm leaving and joining another team or company because I have because I've got too many growth opportunities. There's just too many growth opportunities here. I have to leave. That doesn't happen. So we want to validate who they are and what they're going to do. So basically you can see this and you're going to get a copy of it. You know, the 5 business sources, getting them to understand where the business comes from, getting them to understand on part 2 there that they have personal friends. They have friends and family and past coworkers. They need to bring in a referral once a month. Imagine that. Everyone that I hire as an assistant, I say, this is not a cul-de-sac salary. It's who you know and how you perform here, and you can make some big bucks. And then I share with them how to do that. Okay, profit share. Now, of course, now is the time. We are at 175,000 agents. And with some of the market shifts and all the free training that we do with KWU and MAPS, we're going to be able to dominate and recruit these agents. And with Command and the things that have changed with Command have been so phenomenal. If you haven't looked at it lately, do. And so one of the things that I want you to hear from me is that build a business with the right person. Make them a rock star by including them in these kind of conversations, including them on what are we missing? What should we be working on next as far as lead generation? This is how you make a rock star, is in that communication. All right, next slide. Let's do the 411. So some of you are thinking to yourself, 411? Well, I hardly even do one. That is the very best thing. You take your business plan and you put your 411. I did a training with Gary yesterday where he worked with the employees at KWRI talking about the 411. Everyone on our teams and every single person does a 411 every single week. And so it's your annual goals, it's your monthly goal, and then you've got your personal things, which is great. But more importantly, I'm going to teach you something. On the weekly goal, what would an assistant put on there? How about 1 personal referral? What about 2 referrals from current clients, or 1 review? What about closing 3 files successfully, because there's 3 closings coming up? What about adding 15 to the database? Now that would be a great week. Everybody'd go, yeah, I want that from an assistant this week. Sure. And yet, if we're not taking the time to do this, you're not going to make a rock star assistant. This is where you become and you link arms with them, because 1, you care, and 2, you're helping them grow as an assistant and achieve their personal goals, their financial goals, and more importantly, the business goals with you, in my opinion. Okay. And so I want you to hear that. Now, you never fill out the 4 weeks. You only fill out 1 week at a time, 1 week at a time. Okay. So nothing is filled out there. All right. Okay. Moving on. Step 5. They're the director of the data bank. All right. The data bank is this. It's your database. It's the only asset you have. It's not a Louis Vuitton bag. It's not your new Escalade or Lexus that you got. Nope, nope, nope. This is all about the database. Now, Gary says that you should add 3 per day. And I have systems where that is simply done. It's simply done as a team. And then you're monitoring the growth. So the Rockstar assistant is monitoring the growth of that database with completes. Now, completes are the only thing that have a $sign on them. And that is name, address, phone number, and email. And a complete is husband and wife. And should an assistant go back and call some of those incompletes? They absolutely can, with role plays and the right scripts. You know, and I teach them all about the scripts, meaning, you know, so for example, my assistant Stephanie would say, hi, this is Stephanie with Monica Reynolds' office. I have a quick question for you. Do you have 1 minute? Great. Monica wanted to reach out. We have a really valuable brief email about the market update. And I have your wife's. And Jim, could I get your email, please? And so fill in the plugs, fill in the empty spots, and get that, and then be very purposeful. So are you going to have 2,000 in your database at the end of the year? You're going to have 1,000. What's your goal? You need to have a minimum of 1,000 this year, and every year add 2,000 to 3,000. And how are you going to do that? What are the strategies? What are the plans? You know, and this is how you do it. Okay, and they should be in charge of the 4 mailings that go out per year. Is it holiday cards is what should say there. You know, like birthdays, anniversaries, Thanksgiving. I love sending out a Thanksgiving card. I do not send out Christmas cards because there's so many Christmas cards that go out from the gardener, the dentist, and whoever, and get lost in the shuffle, but no one hardly gets a Thanksgiving card. So is your assistant rock star? Are they guarding that data bank? Are they growing it? Are they purposely making sure there's no mistakes in it? And then are they sending out the marketing that needs to be there? Okay. All right. Step 6. This is the hard one because we all go, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you absolutely understand that you have to role play the greeting you want. Thank you for calling Monica Reynolds' office. This is Stephanie. I can help you. That was our greeting. So in my class, I give 5, 6 different greetings. Choose one, get comfortable with it. That's the way the phone's answered. And when you have an assistant in the office, you don't answer the phone. They do. Okay. Obviously, if it line rings again, you take that call. Closings. Do they absolutely have all the scripts on how to set the seller up for success on inspections? How to set them up for low appraisals, for showings? Are they setting it up with those sellers and those buyers, what to expect during the closing of a transaction? You know, difficult situations. You've got to role play these things 15 minutes a day. And then you never get out of doing this. You got to then after a couple months or so, and you feel comfortable that they know how to do it and they're bringing you situations and you're helping them when they can communicate at the highest level, that takes that plate that you've been spinning off of your spinning. Okay. So next slide, please. Slide 7, step 7. Okay. They're the CEO of the office. They do a 411 with you. You know exactly what they're doing. They give you a listing report every single month every single week on Friday at 10 o'clock in your chair of the listings and the status, the pending report, the buyers, the sellers, the status, the volume, the closing date, etc. And then the Friday report, which I'll talk about here in a minute. They're tracking all the numbers. This is a just do it form where the assistant, when you have one agent or 2 or 3 that you're hiring, they're tracking their numbers and their production every single day. This is the accountability. Now you can do it digitally, which is great. And here's the form. Okay, next one, step 8. Communication. They communicate at the highest level possible, And so the Friday report is something that I used to work for Dave Ramsey for 5 years, and I learned this working there, is that every Friday you turned into your supervisor 5 things I did to move the business forward, week high, week low, and how did you wow a customer? Wouldn't you love that report on Friday? Wouldn't that just make your week to know that the business moved forward? And so I really instill in over communicating in the fact that this is how you build the trust. And then the communication can start to dial back a little bit, but there's important things that have to be communicated each and every day. So the daily meeting form, what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, any problems and concerns should take 10 minutes or less. And you do it at 11 o'clock if you got one assistant. Again, at 4 o'clock, you got an appointment, you do it before. And you honor when the assistant, is leaving at 5 or 5:30. So you're not calling them at night doing that. Okay, moving on. Step 9, training. So you have to determine when you bring on an assistant, you want to make them a rock star, you have to pour into them. So the first day, I'm going to suggest that you take the entire day and it's for your assistant. Now, can you give them a couple videos to watch and while you return some calls and check your emails and stuff? Of course, I'm not saying shut your business down, use common sense. And there's always lunch, right? And so then you get the assistant's commitment to being learning based. So everything from giving them an MREA book, reading 1 chapter at a time together. The market centers have great training, Command, different CRMs have training. The perfect real estate assistant, of course, and I'll talk about that coming up. We've got one July 13th. And so let's go to the next step. Step 10, Rockstar assistant qualities. So I want you to think about this and check this off. If you have an assistant right now, are your files meticulous? Whether they're digital, paper, combination of both, are they meticulous? If you opened them up, do you know where everything is? Scale of 1 to 10. The class teaches this. Own the communication on the files. The assistant owns the communication between that person and the seller and the buyer. And I teach the assistant that the agent on any of these transactions is your customer also. They're not your enemy. They are your customer, and you treat them like the customer. And I teach them to understand and respect that these are commission salespeople, and that, yes, their calls are crazy sometimes, but how to monitor them, how to put up boundaries, and how to set standards there. They should get a review and referral on every single client if it's set up correctly, and the scripts set them up correctly to do that. Imagine if you guys know Mike Hicks, he's a guy in Idaho that he'll sell 250 houses and he gets 250 reviews that he sells to those, or referrals. So every client gives him a referral that he now sells that person. Every client. So wouldn't that be great to get a referral from every client versus onesies, twosies every year? Turn that into 20, 40, 50. Amazing results. Just simple. So we help the Rockstar assistant learn how to say that on every call. Hey, by the way, thanks for mentioning that we did a great job. Our business is based on really great reviews. Would you mind taking a minute? I'm going to send you a link, and take 2 minutes and give us a 5-star review and mention our team. So I teach them, anytime a client says something nice, strike to get the review. You don't wait till the end of the file. So is your assistant a rock star? Okay, monitor all goals and numbers. Yeah, they're in control of all the numbers. They are the number king and queen. They track the numbers. They tell you on the 15th of the month where you're at. Some of you are going, well, I don't know if I like that. Hey, this is your roadmap to success. You've got to know your numbers. You've got to understand them. CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. And authorship is ownership, per Gary. Authorship is ownership. When we teach the assistants on these calls to own these files, to own these checklists, to make them better, I give them blueprints, then I say, go make it better. Then they have authorship on those files, those checklists, those letters, those emails. This is when it gets just absolutely amazing what happens to your business. They should be bringing you cost-cutting solutions, not spending money. Lead generation ideas. Hey, I have an idea. Now, there's never a dumb idea. And sometimes when I hear something, I go, huh? And I think, oh, that'll never work. And I say, let me mull that around. Let me ponder that around. And there might be something there that we can use. Okay. So I never say stupid, right? Master of the scripts and conversations. You have to have a Rockstar assistant that is a clone of you. They say things the way that you say. They know what you would say in this situation. This is how you build your business. Your hire of your first assistant changes the trajectory of your life for your clients and for yourself. You've got to do it correctly. Marketing and social media controller, growth of the database. We've talked about that. And you want to build a bridge of no fear communication with the Rainmaker. Has there ever been a person in your life, and you can go to the next screen, Carlos. Has there ever been a person in your life that you said to yourself, whoa, I do not want to tell them, they're going to get upset, or let's just see what happens. You want that communication bridge totally wide open. They need to feel safe to have a fierce conversation with you. They need to feel safe saying, here's a mistake I did. Here's a mistake I found. They need to feel safe to do that. And so you do that with the conversations and setting up the expectations. Now, all of this, if you're interested, is in the Perfect Real Estate Assistant class. It starts July 13th, 2022 this year. Imagine that. Now, I know, because I've trained more assistants, and I literally wrote the books on assistants in the 90s and building teams while I was getting tossed out of a Coldwell Banker office in 1984. I got tossed out of a real estate office, Coldwell Banker, because I had an assistant and they thought it was a liability. But in the early 90s, I wrote 2 books on it, which was a way I met Gary Keller. And so I want you to hear this loud and clear. I have the best checklist. I have the best systems. I have the very best policy and procedures manual for you. And yes, are you going to use these as blueprints and make them more appropriate for your area, whether you're New Jersey or California? They do things differently in each state. So of course, but you're going to have a policy and procedures manual. You will never be hostage to an assistant coming and going by attending this class. That's why there's one call for the agents, So you know what I'm training them. So you are the accountability partner. I'm not the magic pill. I'm a pretty good pill, but I'm not the magic pill. And so we're going to have a partnership on that first call telling you what we're going to do. Okay. So you're going to make sure that when you go to join the class, be sure you enter Web 100, receive $100 off. Okay. Off the first. Okay. So, okay, somebody's come off mute, which is fine. Any questions before I let any of you go? You want to come off mute or you want to put it in the chat box? Let me see what I got in the chat box.
Monica?
Yes.
For someone who is starting new but has very good, prior experience in the corporate, say, finance world, do you have any kind of benchmark of hourly pay or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm going to just give you thank you, Susan. I'm going to give a broad statement. When you join the class, I get into the nitty gritty. In this market right now, you're going to pay anywhere from $15, which would be the low end now, in most cases, even in Mississippi, up to $25 an hour. I prefer that you look at hiring someone on a salary basis with bonuses. And I cover all of that in the class. So some areas like New Jersey, that's an expensive area to live, where it's different than Mississippi and Alabama. So we have to kind of make those adjustments. But I go through all that and I give you the formulas of how to do that. The key is you never want to make an assistant feel that they can't make more money, that there isn't growth opportunities for them.
Right.
Okay. Right. All right, good. Any other questions here before I let you guys go? So sign up for that. Graham put the link in there. I guarantee everyone has always said, this is the best class. This is your life. This is your business. And why not have all the systems that I've either built or stole over the years and made them better? Imagine that. I've coached some of the very, very top agents in the country. And I go, that's a good system. Let me look at that. And then I tweak it and then I own it. So that's how, there's no secrets in real estate, but I can take you out of the learning curve. And if you have an assistant and they're not meeting those standards, then you need to get them on the call. And then you rebuild what you started. And if you're getting ready to hire an assistant, this call is for you. 20 to 30% are agents on the calls, not just, then they don't have an assistant yet. They want the systems. And I do go through a complete hiring process. I go, everything on the listings. We do a deep dive TCs. There's over 100 letters. There's over 75 different checklists. So it's a very powerful call with systems. If you are lacking systems and you want those to go into place, which builds a duplicatable and scalable business, this call is for you. Okay, what else? Any questions, Carlos, that you can see?
I have a question.
What is the cost?
Can I speak the question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I was wondering, do I need to have an office for my assistant, or can I allow them to work from home?
Well, I love that quote Elon Musk said. He said, get to the office. So I want you to do a hybrid. I don't want any assistant to never have an office to come to. So I think you have to do a hybrid. I would love to see him come to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if you want to do a hybrid, because most people are going to be demanding that because of COVID, we're going to do that at KWRI. We come to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday's optional. So I think you need to have that interaction. And if not, I get them on Zoom calls most of all day where they're on the Zoom so you can talk to them or you can see what's going on when you're in the office. So there is that trust factor that they're not doing laundry. The cost of, so I hope that helps. The cost of the program is $195 per month. And then at the end of the 6 months, it's 18 calls, one call for you, and they're an hour long. There's probably 20 to 45 pages of information given out of systems and checklists, very valuable. And at the end of the course, the assistant gets a certificate if they've showed up all the time. So we're not giving them anymore to anyone who doesn't show up. So you can't audit the class and listen to it later. You have to take it now. And you have to be visible. And I'm asking you that if you're going to make the investment, which you should, in training for your assistant, be sure you say screen on. I do not want any assistants coming to my class with screen off, because what are they doing? Doing dishes, washing the dog? You don't audit my class. you participate, and I call on them and they love it. And we work on the scripts, etc. Okay, any other quick questions?
Do you know the time yet?
Yes, I do know the time. Carlos, what's the time? Carlos, are you there? I believe it's...
Yes, I'm here. It's from, sorry, give me 1 second.
It's 12 o'clock, I believe, on Wednesday.
That's right.
12 o'clock. So it's 12 o'clock Central Time, which would be 1 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Mountain, and 10 Pacific. We try to get it at a good time where everybody can join. I have an assistant for over 3 years. Okay. If you've had an assistant for over 3 years, this class, I've had assistants who say, I've been an assistant for 10 years and my agent's making me take it. And then they're the ones that say to me, oh my gosh, this is so great. I empower them to be the CEO of the office. I empower them to have direct conversations so that you can grow the business versus having an assistant who's not participating at a high level. So this class is for anyone at any level. They're hired new, they've been in for a while, because you never get out of the learning curve if you are growth-based. You have to constantly be learning to be growth-based. And I know you guys get that. You're Keller Williams, okay? I'm in a rural area where the hourly pay is lower. Our wages discussed. I do not discuss wages ever with the assistants. And I said that before, I'll say it again. I never discuss wages with assistants. I only discuss it with you, agents, on a call. The assistants are on the second and the third call of every month. You're on the first call. I teach you what they're going to learn. I make sure that you're on track with me, doing what you're supposed to do as a leader and as a boss. Because when you hire wrong or you're not communicating correctly, you got to own it. It's on you. And I can fix it if you've got the right assistant. But you've got to be on those calls too. Okay. Any other questions?
I have the same question as Jeff Lang. I'm in between two assistants. I want to know if it will make sense to join the program before hiring the next one or after having the next one.
You know, I'm going to recommend that you join because all the calls are recorded. And if you hire someone during that time, they can go back and listen to it. And then at the end of 6 months, you have another 2 months to listen to those recorded calls. And so knowledge is power. So I have about 30 to 40%, sometimes that many, that are single agents wanting the system so they know what to delegate when they hire. And then they come back on the call, or if they hire during that time, they get their assistant on the call. So I'd sign up now. So, and then because I go through a hiring process that complements career visioning, and yet it's really powerful how to absolutely cut through applicants and really know who's the right one for you. So I give you those secrets. Okay. All right, good. All right. Any other questions here? Jump on and ask me. Yes.
Monica, this is Aria Wilcox. I'm from Keller Williams, Grand Rapids North. What is the best way that you have found, or people have found, in finding an assistant, like the avenues by which you found them? I unfortunately hire with my heart sometimes, which is the stupidest thing that I've done.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that.
Yes. And I paid the price dearly, but.
Well, because you can have heart in your business, but you have to be a business person and make the right business decision. So I'm going to give you a couple of things real quick. And I go through the course on how to find the right assistant. But off the top of my head, number one, you start with your database. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm having a terrific year. I so appreciate your support. Please let me know if you know of anyone thinking about a career in real estate. I'd love to talk to them. Just send that out and then tell them to pass it on, right? Okay. Number two that I think is important is that you ask your affiliates, and you don't say, do you know of anyone? You say, okay, John, I gave you 6 loans last year. I need you to give me 2 names of a great assistant. They either have a job, they've been downsized, they're part-time, whatever it is. Give me 2 names. I don't have to mention I got it from you. I'll just say I heard about you from a friend, and I just wanted to see if there's any way you'd consider having an interview with me. I'm looking for this person, okay? So first is your database. Second is absolutely, without a doubt, your vendors. Then the third thing is there's Indeed.com, which a lot of the mega agents use, Indeed.com, which has been fairly successful for a lot of people. And then the fourth thing that I highly recommend, and think about this, is anytime you're talking to anyone, you go to a restaurant and say, have you ever thought about a career in real estate? You never know who's in front of you. The sellers, after they've signed a listing, hey, thanks so much. My business is booming. And I was just curious, do you know of anyone thinking about a career in real estate? And then the last resort, not the last resort, another resort is the college bulletin boards for jobs. You know, I coach a person in Las Vegas, and there's this huge university there at UNLV, and he puts in there, as I said, and I've told other agents to do this, say internship available. You know, you're getting these business grads coming in going, hey, this sounds great. I'll be part of this office. Or they're in between classes or something. So the college is another place to look. Okay. All sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch them if you miss a class. And then after it's over, it's 2 months more. Okay. Any more questions? I want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. Okay, so it's at 12:30, I guess.
What if they've taken the class before? Does it pay to take it again?
Well, yes, because the market shifted on us. I have a bunch of stuff like, so when the market shifted, I had COVID stuff in there. Now we're going into the shift. So I'm going to talk about Tactic 12 in the shift book, bulletproof transactions. So everything, if you've taken it before, Melissa, it's nothing like what it is before. You know, I'm at KWRI. The last 3 years, the information has changed over and over. It's improved a lot, and it's market of the moment stuff. So absolutely, highly recommend you take it again.
I did take it the last time you offered it, so I was thinking about taking it again, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be the same materials or.
Yeah, there's always something new that's added. We've always worked on it, and yet I would say to you, until you master it, until you feel you have everything, because the first time you hear it, you go, that works. Okay, I got to do that. That works. Second time you hear it, you go, oh, I didn't hear that last time. You listen at a different level every time you go. Now, Gary Keller says a lot of the same things over and over again, but we listen differently at where our business is. Does that make sense, Melissa?
Yes, absolutely.
I have several teams that they just sign up every single time. And they're putting their assistants in there, the new ones, the old ones, they're all going in every time because they listen differently. So if you've been before, sign up. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I respect everybody's time, and then we will definitely let you go. Okay, so here's my pledge to you. I love training agents who hire assistants because you become a business person. I love training agents who want to hire an assistant and want to know fully what this looks like as far as hiring, as far as training, and as far as the systems go. I am the one person who has done more training than anyone in the country on assistants. It changed my life as an agent. It changed the trajectory of my business, but it also changed the lives of all my clients because we over communicated with each person and we were very successful with reviews and referrals. So with that said, from the bottom of my heart, this is a great investment for you. Please make it. Look forward to seeing you on the calls in July. Thank you, Graham. Thanks, Carlos. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you on the classes. Thanks so much. Oh, by the way, I'm Monica at kw.com if you have a question. Monica at kw.com. Easy. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you.